This is the Apple Watch, my most underrated productivity device. Let me explain. The latest Apple Watches have now gone to a point where you can pretty much fully replace your phone with it and make it an actual modern dumb phone. I use my Apple Watch to track my time, track my workouts, check off my to-do list, make calls, respond to my mom, even use maps, all without having to bring my phone wherever I go. It's helped me become more present and focus on the things that matter to me most. I've been using an Apple Watch for nearly 4 years now, and having tried almost every wearable out there, including the Pebble Watch, the Oura Ring, a Whoop, it's the one I keep coming back to because it has the most amount of developer support. Like, there's the most amount of apps. It just works, and there are no subscription fees. On this channel, I've talked to a lot about different productivity devices and setups I use to be productive and healthy. One device that I've been using daily for the past 4 years that I haven't really talked too much about is the Apple Watch. So I wanted to make this video to share with you how I use my Apple Watch, my favorite productivity apps on there, and why you might even consider getting one. So one thing to say first is that I'm probably not using the Apple Watch like you've seen in other videos or how most people use their Apple Watch. The way I see my Apple Watch is almost like a replacement to my phone. So one thing a lot of people don't know about the Apple Watch is that if you get the cellular model, you can actually use your Apple Watch like your phone without bringing your phone around. All you have to do is to have your phone at home charging, and you're able to get all the notifications on your phone and even respond to them. So you can respond not only to iMessages, but you can respond to Discord messages, Messenger, or any other apps. You can make calls pretty easily even without your phone, and Apple Maps works surprisingly well for navigation, especially for walks. It's super responsive. It vibrates when you're supposed to turn a corner, and sometimes I even use it for driving if I'm not bringing my phone. And I think it's even made me better at driving and knowing a general sense of where I am in the city. I also use Siri for a lot of stuff like asking random questions, looking stuff up, and setting timers. And it's really nice because I don't have to pull out my phone and navigate through a bunch of different screens. I just click it and I ask a question and it gives me the answer almost instantaneously, which is pretty amazing. As I've been using the Apple Watch over the past few years, I found that slowly it started to replace bringing my phone out for things like going for a walk, going to a cafe to read a book, or just working out. Like, even at a cafe, I can pretty easily pay for whatever I'm buying with the Apple Pay on the watch. So there's really no reason for me to have to bring my phone. I started running earlier this year, and it's pretty nice to be able to go for a run without having to bring anything and just have my watch on my wrist where I can not only track the workout and see how fast I'm going, but also be able to call somebody if I can't find my way back or I need to look something up. If I'm listening to music, I usually just use my iPod. But if you use Apple Music and Spotify, you can actually download the music onto your Apple Watch and listen to it with some AirPods directly. Because of those features, I kind of see my Apple Watch not as like a supplementary device that I use alongside my phone, but as a replacement device for when I don't want to bring my phone out. Lately, there's even a trend of companies making cases for the Apple Watch if you want to use it without your phone. And I got this one from Japan, which is really just for fun and is not really that practical, but I think it looks pretty cool and retro. Since there's no way to have any addictive apps or social media on your watch, it really is just a purely utilitarian device. The battery easily lasts the entire day, even with the always on display. And it only takes like 30 minutes to charge it to use it for almost the entire day. But besides the dumb phone features, one thing that I think is super powerful about the Apple Watch is the health tracking features, specifically with sleep and workout tracking. So there's this YouTube channel that I watched with this guy called The Quantified Scientist. And he basically did an experiment where he wore an EEG to track his sleep and measure that against every fitness tracker on the market and plotted it on a graph based on the accuracy. And he found that by far, the Apple Watch was the most accurate sleep tracker, which was pretty surprising to me because some of them had higher price tags, and a lot of them had high subscription fees like the Whoop and the Oura Ring. With the Apple Watch, it's just a one-time purchase, so it's actually cheaper and it's literally a better sleep tracker. I will say it's a little bit less intuitive to track your sleep with the Apple Watch because you have to put it into sleep mode before it'll start tracking, whereas the other ones will just track it automatically. But it's really not a big trade-off, and it's pretty easy to put into sleep mode if you're sleeping with the Apple Watch. It's also pretty nice to be able to set an alarm on the Apple Watch and to be able to wake up with a silent alarm, which is helpful if you sleep with anybody. In the latest version of the Apple Watch, they also got FDA approval to detect sleep apnea, which is pretty amazing. I think the Apple Watch is one of the only fitness and sleep trackers that are constantly innovating and adding new features and doing stuff like getting FDA approval. The built-in workout and habit tracker is also really effective in motivating me to work out more. The habit tracker are these rings that are based on the amount of minutes you want to work out or the amount of calories you want to burn, and you try to close them every day, which for me personally, it's pretty motivating. The workout tracker is also hyper optimized for every different type of workout. Like, I primarily use it for running, and it's really nice because it gives me info about what heart rate zone I'm in, how fast I'm going, my average pace. And it even allows me to race myself if I'm running on the same path, which is pretty cool. There's a different workout app that I use for lifting, which I'll talk about more in the next section. But besides the built-in apps that I just talked about, there's 5 essential apps that I use every day that make my Apple Watch the ultimate productivity device. The first one is Things 3. So this is an app I talked about before, but it's a to-do list app, which I also use on my computer. It's a paid app, but it's not a subscription payment. It's like just a one-time thing. And I think it's easily worth it. It's super simple to use and it syncs across my computer and my Apple Watch. So it's really easy to be able to see my to-do list, check things off, and even add new to-dos for my watch, like either with the keyboard or the microphone. It just has a super simple and easy to use interface, and there's not much to talk about because it just works, which is what I think a to-do app should do. And I don't need to waste any time on setting anything up there. The second app that I use is called Timelines. So I also talked about this app before in a video where I talked about the benefits of tracking your time. But tracking my time has been a super low effort, high ROI habit that surprisingly I've kept up for the entire year. So I can easily start and stop different timers on my Apple Watch. And at the end of the week or month, I can get a breakdown of exactly how I spent my time, which is really helpful for analyzing and improving how I want to allocate my time. And it's not always productivity related. Like, I might try to spend more time with family and friends. If you've never tracked your time, I would recommend doing it for like a week or even a month. It's definitely helped me procrastinate less and focus more on the things that I want to do. The third app that I use on my Apple Watch is called Just Press Record. It's a voice memo app, and you can set it up so that you can start recording your voice with just one click. After you record it, it transcribes it into text on the app, which makes it easy to either read or search through different voice memos. And it's really helpful for recording down different ideas that you have, or writing down your thoughts verbally, or even just remembering a conversation. The fourth app that I use is called Pedometer Plus, and this is a free app that I use to see how many steps I hit in a certain day. Like, there is a way to see it built in on the Apple Watch, but you can't display it on the watch face clearly. So this just makes it easy to display it on the watch, and I can at a glance see how far I'm at with hitting 10,000 steps a day. Honestly, it's pretty easy to hit 10K steps a day if I'm running, but it's a pretty useful metric to see on my watch. The same developer has another app called Sleep++, which gives you a sleep score and a breakdown of how well you slept based on the Apple Watch data. And that's also pretty effective. So lastly, it's the workout app that I use for lifting, and it's called Strong. I basically enter in my workout plan on my phone, and then from my watch, I can start the workout and see all the sets and reps that I need to do, and I can easily track and put in the different weights and reps directly on my Apple Watch, which makes it nice because then I don't have to bring my phone to the gym. That's pretty much it for the apps that I use, but there's a few additional setup tips if you want to make it a productivity device. So the first thing I do is that I make sure to turn off any buzzing notifications or pop-up notifications, especially for messages. I don't really like getting a bunch of notifications or buzzes on my wrist, which make it hard to focus on the things that I'm doing, or it often will take me out of a flow state. So I don't have any notifications popping up, but I can still access the notification center if I want to respond to messages or see if I missed anything. You can customize your notifications so that you only get them from close friends and family, and also any other apps that are important to you. But the second thing that I do is I like to set up my Apple Watch in black and white. I put it into color just for the video, but I usually have it in black and white. I find that it's way less stimulating and looks and feels more like a regular watch and not like a phone on a wrist. So it's just a personal preference. All right, so if you're thinking about getting one, I want to talk about which Apple Watch you should get. So I've done quite a bit of research into this, and I think the best one you should get is probably the Series 9, which is not actually the latest version. I wouldn't get anything earlier than the Series 9 because starting from the Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 1, they put Siri on the device locally, so you can actually use Siri without the internet, and it makes it way faster to look stuff up or do any actions. And on the Series 9, there's the blood oxygen sensor, which they removed recently because of some lawsuit going on. So you actually have less features if you get the new one. The Apple Watch Ultra is a good option if you want battery life that's longer than a day. But honestly, like even with the normal Series 9, I've never had the battery die before the end of the day, except for when I ran my marathon and I had the workout tracker on for like 4 hours. I did get my hands on the latest one, but honestly, I might return it because there doesn't really seem to be any major differences between the Series 9 and this one, especially if you want to use it as a productivity device. And you can get a used version of the Series 9 for almost half the price, if not less than that. For me, I pretty much see my Apple Watch as a fully functioning productivity device slash dumb phone. It helps me stay productive and focus on the things that really matter to me. And I really think it is a quality of life upgrade, which is why I wanted to make this video. More and more, I can just leave my phone at home and still have the convenient aspects of a smartphone without any of the downside. So that's pretty much why I think the Apple Watch is one of the most underrated productivity devices. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. I just moved, which is why the background looks different. I'm still setting everything up, but see you soon. It's good.